Hi everyone, my name is Cyrus and welcome back to my channel. Today we're here to talk about This Is How You Lose a Time War by Aman El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. I listened to this as an audiobook and it was a really fun experience. I feel like I've heard about this book for a long time now. I feel like it won a couple of awards when it was released, and I feel like a couple of years ago it was like super popular on TikTok and social media. Everybody was talking about this book. And it's a really cool concept. I knew that the concept of the book was that it's written by two authors and that one author wrote all of the blue sections of the book and the other author wrote all of the red sections of the book. So I thought it was a really cool concept. So eventually I got to listening to it. It's a really short book as well. The audiobook's only about 4 hours, so it's really like a quick listen or a quick read. So it was a really fun experience to go through and kind of learn the story and learn what all the hype was about when it was first released. And one other thing that I'll say about the audiobook that was really nice is that because there are two characters and they're so distinct, and the fact that they're written by the two authors and everything, they actually got two narrators to narrate both different sections of the book. So it was really cool because you could really easily differentiate who was talking at what time. So I really like that aspect of the audiobook as well. I'm going to give a couple of spoiler-free thoughts, but because this book is so short, I feel like there's not too much I can say without giving too much of the story away. What I feel like I can say is that at the beginning of the story, I was a little bit confused. You really just get thrown right into the story at the start. And so there was a little bit of a learning curve. Okay, wait, what's happening? What's going on? But once you do figure out what's happening in the story, and once you kind of get acquainted with how the story is being told, I was just so excited every time to read the next chapter. It was really, really exciting. And I will say that I think the ending of this book, to me, felt really, really awesome. I really liked the way that the book kind of concluded itself. I thought it was a really, really cool ending. And so, again, it's so short, so I strongly recommend just going to read the book, coming back, and then we can have some spoiler conversation about it because it's a really quick read, and I think it's really worth the read. Okay, jumping into some spoiler thoughts now. I really loved just the love story that happens here. When I say I was feeling a bit confused, I think where that confusion lied at the start of the story for me was like, I was wondering, okay, what's going on? Like, what's this whole war that's happening, right? What the time war that's going on between Red's side and Blue's side? What's actually happening? I feel like I was maybe overthinking a little bit. I think I wanted to really know kind of like the world building behind it. Like, why did they start the war? What's going on here? But eventually you kind of just get to a point where, at least for me, I just realized I actually don't care about this war at all. What I care about, what I want to know, is what's the next thing that Blue's going to write to Red, or vice versa. Just their letters they were so beautiful. I really loved reading each of the letters. They were really poetic. They were really nice. And I was also really excited to learn about how they would get the letters to the other person, whether they were going to be on the inside of a tree or within a bee sting. It was just really creative ways of getting the letters to the other person, and I really liked learning about that. It was just a really cool aspect of the story of, okay, what's the letter going to be, but also how is the letter going to get there? It was a really fun little twist and little aspect of the story that I really appreciated. And it was also really cool to learn about which time period are they going to find themselves in. Is it going to be in the past, in the future? What's going to be going on in that area? And so that was pretty cool too, to see where they were and then how they were going to receive their next letter. And as the relationship is really blossoming and you're really starting to see how much they care about one another, that's right when Red's commanding officer realizes that, wait a second, Blue has been tracking Red, or that's what they think is happening, that Blue's been tracking Red throughout the timeline, and they devise this way to kill Blue. And I think it really raises the stakes that Blue and Red are their respective sides, like top agent, and so all of that, it was like, okay, we're gonna kill Blue. And it was a really sad scene to see Blue eat those seeds and ultimately die, despite Red warning her that if she does, she'll die, and to not eat the seeds, no matter what, don't eat them. We can live on our lives knowing that we love each other even though we can't be together. It was just really sad to see that, and to see that Blue ultimately says, you know what, is my life really worth living if we can't be together, if I can't write you letters, if I can't wait to see what you've written me ever again? And that she decides that she's going to eat the letters to just hear and see what Red has written to her one last time, and that she dies. It was a really, really sad scene, and sad what I thought was potentially conclusion to the story. But obviously, it wasn't the conclusion to the story. And how the story actually ended, I thought was really, really cool. How we've been seeing this mysterious figure picking up the remnants of the letters throughout the story, and how ultimately that ends up being Red, and how Red she's going back into the timeline and collecting all the letters that they wrote to one another, all the remnants of them, in order to ultimately get back to Blue and basically kind of give her some form of immunity to what's going to happen to her in the future. And the fact that the contagion that happened to Blue as a child was actually Red, kind of infecting her with something in order to give her that immunity later. It was just really cool to see that full circle, how it all plays into one another in that loop, and then ultimately how Red gets captured after infiltrating into Blue's territory, gets captured by her own people, is put into prison, and then at the end, Blue did survive, and Blue helps Red get out of prison, and then at the end of the story, Blue and Red are off into the sunset. The two sides' ultimately best agents are now rogue. And it was just a really cool way to conclude this story. Very much like a time loop kind of story. And it was just really a really cool ending to the story. And you know, I love spy stories and I love romance stories. And this was just like the best of both worlds there. It was really fun. And I think I just really like enemies to lovers too. So overall, just like all these boxes being ticked, 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 it was really great. Overall, this is a really great, short and sweet story. I just really, really liked it. And like I said, there's not that much I can say in these spoiler-free sections without giving the whole book away. But it's so short that I really just recommend going and experiencing it. I would give This Is How You Lose the Time War a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was really incredible, like a near perfect story, other than a little bit of confusion here and there, and I kind of felt like there was maybe a couple of things that were just not fully maybe wrapped up as well as they could have been, but just overall, there's an awesome, awesome story. Strongly recommend, like I said, it's a 4-hour audiobook. It was just incredible. Really, really recommend reading this story. And if you have read it, I'd be really interested to know what your thoughts are about it, because like I said, I really enjoyed it and I'd love to chat about it with you. So let me know what your thoughts are about it in the comments down below, and until next time.